Eric B's Daily Vlogs.
All right, guys, another episode, another live interview tonight. This time I have producer, second unit director, assistant director, and actress Roberta Sparta from the Disney Plus episode of Obi Wan Kenobi. She played Leia's aunt, Celly Organa, so she shares the last name with Princess Leia. We're going to get her on the other side of the break, but first, let's get this started.
You're listening to the Daily Podcast with Eric B.
Welcome, everyone. It's the Daily Podcast and the Daily Vlogs. I am your host, Eric B. Thank you guys for jumping on again for another live interview. This one's going to be a little more entertaining, I hope. I hope it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I have Roberta Sparta, Disney Plus, Celly Organa, who played Leia's aunt. I have her in the waiting room, so I'm going to pull her in right now. All right, Roberta is coming in as we speak. All right, there she is. Let's give Roberta a round of applause.
Hi. Hi, Eric.
All right, Roberta, thank you for jumping on. Thank you for being on the show. I know you've been busy, and thank you for taking the time. Roberta, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone for us.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Roberta Sparta. I am an actress, producer, and second unit director, originally from Italy, and I live in Los Angeles.
Nice. Is that the accent I'm listening to? Is that Italian accent?
I guess.
I asked you that when we were talking on the phone because I did hear a little accent, but I wasn't sure what the accent was. Roberta, again, thank you for jumping on. Thank you for being here. I know you're a busy lady. We'll get down to the questions. People gave me questions to ask you as well. So first of all, how did you land the role to be Celly Organa, Leia's aunt?
Well, it actually happened in this very room where I'm in right now, which is my bedroom. And I think it was kind of coming out of the pandemic. I just received from my manager a request for a self-tape. Right now, everything is self-tape, very little in person.
Yeah.
And so I just, propped up my cell phone, like what I'm using right now. And I was standing in front of a white wall, and it was an improv. I actually didn't really have lines. It was an improv, and they told me it was for a mom role on a Disney show, and I was like, I never get those. Like, I don't know. I don't look like a mom. I guess I'm I don't know, sassy. I don't know. So it's like, sure, whatever. And it said, don't worry about your accent, just be yourself. So I did it, and I think it was the following week, my manager said, well, they're asking for your availability. I was like, cool. And then the following week is like, they want to book you. I was like, cool.
Wow,
Still no idea what that was. And then she was like, well, I'm sending you the contract. I was like, cool. And then when I got the contract, at the bottom, I saw that it said Lucasfilm. Oh. And that's when I freaked out.
Yeah, I think
still not knowing what it was.
So when did you find out you were, okay, you got the contract, you saw it said Lucasfilm, you kind of knew, okay, it has something to do with Star Wars, but when did you find out that this is your character and you're going to be playing with a major character moving down the franchise?
Well, so I went to the fitting, and because I started doing my research, I'm very savvy researchers, yeah. And after all my IMDb obsession, I had figured out it may have been Obi-Wan, because it had been put on hold a couple of times. Yeah. And then when I went to the fitting at the costume house, I literally walked into a room full of Jedi costumes. Wow. So that's when I had a heart attack a little bit. And then the costume designer, I'll always remember, she walked up to me with this beautiful book, and she had she hand drew me, and she told my story. You come from this planet. This is what you're doing. And I was very honest with her. I was like, well, I'm glad you're telling me because I have no idea what is happening here. It was so next level NDA. And then when I got on set, I went into the hair and makeup trailer. It was like something like, usual 5 a.m. And so I sit down and I do a double take, and Jimmy Smits was sitting next.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God. And then that's when but it all really clicked on set. It's extremely, non-disclosure till the very end. I couldn't even print out sides.
Yeah.
They hand you sides on the day, and then they're responsible for taking them back. It was, I couldn't, I had to walk around set wearing a black cape because nobody could see the costume. It was like,
wow,
next level cool.
Wow, that is. Let me ask you this: Are you or were you a Star Wars fan before this?
I think I became a Star Wars fan during the pandemic because that's when I binge watched everything multiple times.
Okay.
Before the pandemic, I was a fan, but I guess during the pandemic is when it really, kicked in. And then I was obsessed with with Baby Yoda or Grogu, should I say?
Yeah.
And when I found out that we would have shot in the very same stage, it was pretty, the volume was pretty amazing.
Wow, Disney is pretty. You're probably the one. I interviewed a lot of actors and actresses who's been on Disney Plus, and their NDA on everything, and their whole we didn't know about anything till the day we were shooting is pretty. It's pretty on point of what you just said, and the secrets that they do, the things that they don't want you to know because they're trying to keep everything a secret is pretty. It's pretty intense, right? How hard was it? How hard was it for you not to go home and say, "Guess what I'm doing," or "Guess what"?
Well, I mean, I think maybe my husband and few family members knew it, but I remember when we were on set, because I went there 2 days total. I guess Jimmy Smits figured out that I was a little I couldn't understand in a way what was going on, and so it was wow, when did you find out? And I was like, well, I kind of found out this morning what is really happening. He was like, what do you mean? It's I only had the sides, but it's you don't know who plays who and what they're doing because they can always flip things around. And he was one of the most compassionate and giving, just amazing actor I've ever worked with. He was so graceful, and the director too, Deborah Chow. She's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it was a good series for Star Wars fans like myself to finally see the Obi-Wan. Like you said, they held it back for a while because they weren't sure if they wanted to make it a movie or if they wanted to make it a series. And then COVID hit, so that kind of pushed it back even more. How did COVID affect you as an actress or being in the movies?
Well, it was interesting because I'm very much of a in-person person. And what happened with the pandemic is it was really hard for me to put myself on self-tape. In the sense that I live in a very small space, and every time I had a self-tape request, which is this whole amount of stress of having to figure it out, how to move things around, and then they want a full body shot, so I have to go outside. So you need to have, this full setup. And I guess in a way it was a blessing in disguise because, for instance, even the Obi Wan Kenobi, I mean, I didn't know it was for that, but I ended up turning down some auditions just because I either didn't have time to self-tape or I was getting frustrated with the self-tape. And that one was just, in a way, also a lucky coincidence. It was no, I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to do it. But it really put a damper in a way and on my love for the job because self-taping from home, it's not something that I like. And as a matter of fact, after I did Obi-Wan, I did one more movie who's actually premiering tomorrow at the Chinese theater in Hollywood. It's a short, but it's another very powerful story. But after that, I was like, I'm gonna take a break from it just because I couldn't deal with with the whole like self-tape situation. I don't know. It's something else. And yeah.
I mean, no, it's, the pandemic not only affected everyone in a certain way, it affected, the way our lifestyle is. From, you just said you went from, you rather be in person, auditioning in person, and now you have to do this, 180, and you have to record yourself. And the way we are as people, we see ourselves on camera, we're like, I don't really like that. And, it's like that. And then they want you to be a certain something. It's easier for me, and you as an actress, you're more veteran than I am, but it's easier for you to say, I rather you look at me in person and give you my expressions, and then you can critique me there, than me looking at the video and like, I don't really like this. Because that one you deleted could have been the best one that they wanted, but you don't know that because we're too busy critiquing ourselves. But you stepped away from being in front of the camera to do more stuff behind the camera. So how did that go about? Was it the whole self-tape thing? Is that what got you behind the scenes?
It was definitely a mix of things. Cause I've been acting in front of the camera for probably 20 years right now.
Wow.
And I also felt when I did Obi-Wan that I reached the peak, or what the peak was for me. I'm forever part of probably one of the most famous franchises in the world, right? And I was tired of having to audition for like commercials or, other smaller roles. And I just felt it was just a mix of things. It was the self-tape, and it was just an underlying feeling of wanting to do more and have the possibility of being more in charge and having a say in, all phases of production. And I have done production probably like 15 years ago when I first came to Hollywood the very first time. And I like it. And I know I'm good at it. I'm very good at organizing and management. So I was like, let's give it a shot. And my husband, he had his own production company for many, many years. And so we started working together. And now I work essentially full time as a producer and a first assistant director. And I really love, I have to say, being an AD, an assistant director. I really like it. I feel very useful and helpful to the production.
It's a lot of work. I mean, I've been to a few, and seeing what you guys do behind the scenes, I give you guys a lot of respect of the work that you guys do. The things you put in, the vision you guys also have. Like, you have this vision on how a scene is supposed to be shot, but also if the actor or actress doesn't capture that scene, you guys have to be like, hey, you got to do it a little bit more. You have to be honest with them, because you are producing something, and you are producing something that people is going to want to watch. And for you guys to have that vision, and to also have the, I don't want to say guts, but, to say like, look, this is not how I want it. It has to be a little bit more like this. I give you guys props for that. That's encouraging to me, being young in this business and trying to get in this business, that there's people like you. I would rather hear the criticism now, tell me now that I'm doing it wrong, than to watch it on film later on and be like, oh my God, I could have done that so much better. I could have done that so much better. I could have. So I love that. I have a question from Facebook. This is from Patricia, and says, who do you look up to as an actor or actress?
I mean, one of my favorite actors will always be Meryl Streep.
Yes.
However, for the kind of like form shape of my career, I look up to like Jessica Chastain or Hilary Swank. So like actresses or on camera talent that also branch out as producers, directors. Olivia Wilde is also
nice.
I think a great actress and director. I work with her on Don't Worry Darling, and she was very compassionate, super professional director. And I also look up to Elle Fanning, who I fell in love with by watching The Great on Hulu.
Yeah.
And also starting to branch out as a producer. And those are like my ladies in a way,
Nice.
who I look up to. Yeah.
How difficult is it for you being a female in the business, in a male dominated business right now, when it comes to producing, when it comes to acting, when it comes to directing, it's dominated by males. How difficult is it for you to say, hey, I'm a female, but I can do this?
I mean, I think actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, once you put me on the field and I deliver, there's nothing left to be said, really, because it's the proof is in the pudding. But I have to say also, to my advantage, I think it's a moment where there definitely also is an opening for women. And especially when it comes to assistant directors, there is this wrong stereotype that, the assistant director is the person that comes to set and scream and nobody likes. And, because it's the person that kind of sets the pace and has to keep it all together from a logistics standpoint. And it doesn't have to be like that. And I believe that women in that position and also in producing positions, we have we're having a moment right now. And we're really, I mean, it's not that it was handed to us for free, but it was a lot of work to get to where we are today. But right now is definitely a moment where we can show what we can do, and it's changing.
I mean, like you said, give you the opportunity and we'll show you what we can do. And you work with Deborah Chow, and Obi Wan, and, she showed us that, we didn't even think about it was a female director because we were so caught up in the action and in the storytelling that we were like, wow, and props to the females. To me, if you put out a good product, male or female, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, it's a female that directed this. I am not gonna watch. You have people like that, and they live the Stone Age. They live in the past. And I'm glad you're there, and I'm glad you're one of the forefronts of the female world, putting out movies. And if it wasn't for you guys, we'd probably still be sitting here watching a lot of macho gung-ho movies, not saying that women can't do it. Women can do it.
Right.
Women still can't do it. What got you into acting? What gave you that acting bug?
I always give all the credit to my very first theater teacher. So what happened was I had started modeling when I was 16. And it was one of those accidents where I was at the mall and somebody saw me and it's like, hey, you, let's go model. And I said yes, like not knowing what I was even, getting into. And then little by little, you do modeling, you do commercials. I had a very, very thick Italian regional accent.
Yeah.
And so my agency is like, well, go take some dialect coaching lessons. And that teacher, her name is Nicoletta Ramorino. She, after one lesson, she's like, I really think you have something, and I would love for you to start, studying with us. It's a very famous traditional theater school in Milan. And that's what I did. And I never looked back, but she was the one that saw it and pushed me and told me, just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to go for it. I mean, if you didn't, you wouldn't have known. And I rather know that I did something than not do something. Did you want to share your Top Gun story with everyone?
Oh, that's also part of the business, right?
Yeah.
So, I got cast to play, I think the role is still called administrator in Top Gun Maverick. Went to the costume fitting, the whole thing. I show up to set the day of and, hurry up and wait type of thing. That was another funny makeup trailer story because I remember I sat down and John Hamm was next to me. And I mean, he's like He was like hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I'm like ready to go. They take you to set, but even there, it was like super beyond NDA. And so you were holding in an area that was not even where the cameras were. It was like, it was me and another like 5 people because it was an office scene. So, you know, it was like people walking in the hallways, and I was supposedly handing something to our friend Tom. And then, you know, day goes by and nothing happens. They pull one person, and then we're waiting. And then I think he was one of the ADs. He comes and he goes like, you know what, we're out of time. We actually cut the scene.
Man.
And so, you know, took off my uniform, went home. And the most, if anything, heartbreaking part is because I was cast and I had a role, I still show up on IMDb.
Yeah.
It just said uncredited because I never made the movie.
No.
And everybody's like, oh my God, you're in Top Gun. I was like, no, I was on the side of Top Gun, and you know, it never happened. But it's part of the game. Like, it has happened. Even I always wanted to do a SAG commercial, because you hear this phantasmagorical stories of you do a SAG commercial and you can buy a house with the residuals.
Oh, wow.
You know, because, and car commercials are the best, and around Christmas and whatever. So sure enough, I finally land the SAG commercial for Christmas. I go, I shoot it, have the best time. I remember I canceled a trip back home to Italy to stay and do it. I got cut. Like, not just me, like the story. It was like a couple story, never aired. So a lot of these things happen. They're not talked about. It's part of the game. It's, you know, it's heartbreak prone.
Yeah.
And so right now that I'm on the other side, I guess, control freak mind is better, because I feel like I'm in control. You know what I mean? I'm on the side where decisions are made versus being handed, right? Like, just like a decision. But I think that being an actor has helped me a lot for what I'm doing now, in terms of understanding also, you know, talent and what they have to go through.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing. I mean, you have someone like Jon Favreau, who was acting for the longest time before now he's doing things behind the scenes. And, you know, he, like you just said, understands the business, understand what a newbie actor, actress, or even a veteran actor and actress has to put in, and the time they put in. And that's what makes a good actor, director, producer, is because you know what you got to do, and you know how you got to either save the film or help, you know, the person that you're with. What's been some of your struggles in the new role that you're in right now? What's, you know, the difficulties you're having, or if you are having any difficulties?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's a lot of personality management.
Yeah,
because you have to put a movie together, which ultimately means putting people together.
Yeah,
and everybody responds to different things. Everybody, because I see my role as bringing people together, and I cannot interact with everybody the same way. And I remember one of my very good friend, and he's a fellow producer. One time we went, and I look up to him as a mentor, and he goes like, you know, at the end of the day, you got to be everybody's daddy. In the sense that, you know, it's like everybody wants to be listened to and cared for, and that's what it should be. Because to tell a story, yes, it's the story, but it's also the people that are behind, like, making it happen. If I didn't have the sound guy, or, you know, also like the roles that are not talked about, they're important. And everybody should be treated, you know, with compassion and care. So it's definitely always be available at my best for everybody. Because sometimes, like, I get tired, I may get cranky. So it's like, that's always the challenge, to be, you know, always there for everybody, because they're there for me, for us, for the movie. So yeah.
Nice. No, that's you're someone that I would love to work for, in the future, just because the way you are, and me being a newbie in this business, and if I get caught up with that person who's just going to scream at me and yell at me, I'm going to be that guy that's like, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want? You second guess yourself, and I'm sure you as an actress, a veteran actress who's been through all that, you ask yourself so many times, is this what you want to do? But if it was just like what you said, you show a little more compassion, be a little bit more heartful to these, especially the new actors, it'll give us that opportunity and chance to say, yeah, I guess this is something I do want to do moving forward. What's your next goal? What's your next project? You said there's one coming out tomorrow, but what else? Any future plans that you have moving forward?
Well, I have, we're right now in post-production with a romantic comedy that we produced in January that it's really cute and I'm really proud of. And it was a lot of work. It was essentially my husband doing everything, camera and director photography.
Nice.
And then I had a friend of mine who also co-wrote the script doing set dressing. And I did everything, meaning I cast, I did locations, I did wardrobe continuity. It was just like, it was a lot, but it's coming along nicely. So I'm very proud to see that come to life. And then we'll see. I have something in June. I'm gonna go to Montana for 2 weeks to film something else. But I have another, I guess, like 3 shorts that I'm ADing or co-producing that are coming to life. One is called Froggy, written and to be directed by Amelia Joyce.
Nice.
Then I'm doing Caught in the Act, which is a brilliant horror by Matt Kravitsky. So I'm like, I have a board. My main entrance of the house, I just like put gigantic like white sticker on it. And I think I have something, probably like 12 projects on it that I'm trying to, push for. But yeah, I'm lucky. I'm surrounded by a lot of talented people and friends. Yeah. And so, what movies we can bring to life.
I never watched or was never into shorts till I interviewed an actress, and she's a Middle Eastern actress, and she introduced me to like 3 or 4 shorts that she was in, and I watched them all. And even in the 6-7 minutes that I was watching these shorts, they were so powerful. I was just like, oh my God. There was one where she didn't even speak in the whole 6-7 minutes, but the acting was powerful, and it showed me an appreciation, and like, you don't have to speak in a role, just act something out. So doing shorts are to me, I love watching shorts. So every time I see something and it says, okay, 12 minutes, I'm going to watch it just because I want to see. A lot of people on this side, my side, thinks it's easy to be an actor or an actress. It's easy to just go there and read a line. And, I'll tell them, and I tell them right now, no, it's not. I was given like 5 lines to remember, and those were difficult for me to remember. It's like, you have to know when to speak it. You have to know, there's a lot of things involved in acting. And for someone like you, again, who's been around, who's been acting, and you're successful in what you do, and I wish you nothing but luck moving forward. And do you plan on getting back behind the or in front of the camera anytime soon?
Yes, I have a project that I'm also co-producing that I'm acting in it. So I just essentially removed myself from the online casting game.
Okay.
I still have my manager, but I always leave the door open in the sense of, if somebody has a project, it's like, hey, Roberta, what do you think? It's like, okay, can I also, produce it though? So I have more of a, bird's eye view of the whole project.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can happen. I mean, it's happening because I'm already doing this other one with a dear friend of mine. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what what the future brings. But I love it. At times, I guess lately I do miss it a little bit. It was interesting that I think some of my best work on camera has come after I was getting off a producing job, because I always like to think, and that's how I feel, that producing or ADing is creative, but it's more of a rational creation, because you're playing with numbers and time. Different, still creative, because you gotta have like a brain to figure it out how you're gonna make it work out. But just like acting and being on set as talent, it has been very, I don't know, like it has recharged me a lot once I was coming off of a producing it, because I guess it balances out, logical and creative. So yeah, it's interesting.
Nice. And the door's always open. If Obi-Wan season 2 comes out and they need, Celly Organa back in there, then you can come back in there.
Always definitely leave very much the door open for Star Wars. I actually waiting to see if there's any figurines or whatnot that is gonna come out. We'll see.
We can find a way to make it happen. We can we can create the Celly Organa little figure for you. We can find that way to make it happen.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, Roberta, before I get you off, again, I want to thank you for jumping on. Thank you for taking the time. But before we get you off, is there any words you can tell anybody who's trying to get into acting or even directing, producing, but they're on the fence, that, they need that little push, they need that little nudge? What words of encouragement can you give them?
Well, if you want to be an actor or a director, just write something and shoot it. Don't wait for... That was the best advice was ever given to me by my very first acting coach here in LA. Don't be the actor or the director that sits around and wait for the phone to ring. You got to make it happen. And especially if you live in LA, but you live in one of the cities that has the biggest, talent pool. So if you want to shoot something and you don't have money, guess what? You have websites. I mean, I found so much good stuff off of Craigslist, also in terms of talent, that I was like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Somebody that wants to, shoot like a DP that wants to shoot something for his or her reel, and they would do it. So you just start gathering mind-alike people, and you just get it done. And then first of all, it's a learning experience that will teach you way more than any class you could take.
Yeah.
And then you are left with a piece of work that is yours and yours only, and you can send it to festivals. So my advice is, if you really want to do it, just make it happen.
Make it happen.
And, that's the best advice. That goes for everything, acting, directing, or if you want to be an accountant, like that goes across the board for anything you want to do in life. If you want to do it, just go out there and make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I told one person within the past couple months that I only see you on Instagram. I don't know you want to be an actor. So how does everyone else know you want to be an actor? You got to put yourself out there. You got to sell yourself out. You got to do everything you can to show people, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it. And the only way to do it is to just keep doing it, keep pushing yourself forward, and keep, get into those auditions, get those headshots, get everything you have to do just to get yourself ready for the next thing. Thank you so much again for jumping on. I mean, it was a great honor to have you on the show. Great pleasure to have you on the show. And I tell everyone, if you ever want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back. If there's anything you want to talk about moving forward, like, again, there is a season 2 of Obi-Wan, and you're like, hey, Eric, guess what? Guess who I'll be? I know you can't tell us right away, but but as soon as that happens, you let us know. And anything else you need on this end, on my end, you need help promoting something, like, hey, Eric, can you put this on your podcast, on your Instagram page? Just help me out. Hey, I know you got PR, but if you need that little cheap help, I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on. Wish you nothing but success and, a bright future. You definitely have a bright future moving ahead. I can't wait to see any of your projects moving forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Eric.
We'll give you another round of applause for jumping on here.
Thank you.
That is Roberta Sparta, guys. You can follow her on Instagram. She has her Instagram page. Is there a website you want to plug for anybody? Anybody who wants to follow you on a website?
No, just my 2 Instagram pages. So I am at Roberta_Sparta, and my production company is Sparta Productions _.
That one I just started looking at today, so I'm gonna follow that one today. Thank you again.
Thank you. I have to still build the website. It's all a work in progress.
Got it. Thank you again, and I can't wait to talk to you soon.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Roberta. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right, guys, that was Roberta Sparta. Man, again, night and day. There was a lot of energy in this one. There was a lot of, that just the questions, and a lot of the questions was definitely, for me, what I got to get out of it, what I can put into it, and, any of my future roles. But I love storytelling. She does have a quote on her IMDb page. Look her up on our IMDb page. And the first line says, "I am a storyteller at heart. I put a lot of love and passion into movie making." Man, that's it right there. That sold me. Thank you guys for jumping on. Thank you guys for always being positive, being part of the show. This is going to be my last interview for a while. I do have a couple interviews or a couple people that I'm lined up to talk to and see if they want to do the show. A lot of you guys are like, how hard is it to get people on the show? It took me 5-6 months to get William Hung on the show. It took me that long to get on the show. Roberta, I had her booked after Obi-Wan ended. We just had a hard time connecting the time and when we can do it. So it is a little difficult. So, for you guys who are there, like, what's taking so long? Cut me a little slack. I'll get it going. But we're going to finish this off again. I want to thank you guys for jumping on. Thank you guys for always being part of the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. The podcast has ended, guys. And the vlogs. Go in peace.
Thanks for listening to the Daily Podcast with Eric B.
Yesterday, they're like, you didn't play any music after the show last night after I did William Hung. I didn't want to get strike on the whole YouTube thing, but this is a song that I put together. It's called Elements of Sound. Couldn't think of another name for it, but I called it Element of Sound. Thank you guys on Facebook Live who joined me. Thank you guys for, always being on again. If you missed this, you can just log on to my Facebook page. It'll show the replay there, or I'll upload it on YouTube with all the edits and all that other stuff. You can watch it on YouTube there. And for you guys who just wants to listen and don't want to look at this ugly mug right here, you can listen to the podcast available on all podcast platforms from Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Podcasts. You guys are paying for the Amazon membership. You might as well listen to a podcast there. But thank you guys, Facebook Live. I'm going to end the stream right now. Thank you guys for jumping on. Until next time, peace.
I made this.